Hey there, my name is Mance,
And I'm Dennis Rieder.
and today we're going to be breaking down the most important steps of getting your home ready for sale. So, are you considering selling your home this year in 2026? Before you do that, let's take a step down and prepare some steps that have taken in order for us to get your home market ready. And what we're going to share with you is the four most important steps that will actually get you more money for your property here in the year 2026.
So I wanted to share with you an example of a story that we just helped a few clients last month on selling their properties. And the reason why they're selling is because of life changes. So this one client who unfortunately got sick and had to sell their property, and there was a lot more work than he anticipated. He not only had his home to sell, but he had an ADU on it. So there was many steps that we had to take before we get that property prepared. Of course, we could have put it on as is, but he wanted the max money. And there's a couple of things you need to know when we put a home on the market. It's not just what our authority in San Diego is of selling the home and the price and the value. It's always want to put on the buyer's hat right now in today's market because the market has changed. So we'll give you that information up that. And there's a third person that you really have to consider when selling your home and what the banks say. So this home wasn't ready yet because there was certain situations in this property that was out in a rural area, but we solved that and we got it sold. And just remember to hire a professional when you do these things.
Yeah, so when it comes to first preparing your home to put it on the market for sale, the first thing that we always want to do is make sure that we clean and declutter your property. And what we mean by that is not just inside the house, but also if you have a large lot, we want to make sure that we declutter as much as possible, whether you have storage sheds or we may need to even rent a storage unit for you. Why this is so important is because buyers really decide within the first few seconds whether they can really picture themselves living in that property or if it's one that they're just going to cross off the list right away. We do that really because the term that we use here in our office is, sellers many times sell based off of logic, but buyers are really buying off of emotions. And when we want to do, when we put your home in the market, is make sure that they feel an emotional attachment when they walk into your property. So what that means is, we need to depersonalize your house, take off any photos of the family, which are great. We all love them. However, we don't want the buyers feeling like they're walking through someone else's home. We want them to envision walking through their own new home so that they're ready to make an offer. And before any painting or staging or upgrades, this is really step one. We want to make sure that we get a clear view of what your property has to offer before we even put any new furniture into the house.
So step two is we want to make the home move-in ready. So there's a lot of things that go into just putting a home on the market. There's more to it than that. Going back to that one story I had with the home we just listed and sold in a rural area, is that, again, we want to prepare or do all the hard work up front. And there's a lot of inspections that we can do, having the eyes of not only just a buyer, but also as a banker. For example, if you have septic tanks, we need to get septic certifications all lined up because if it's a home that is being borrowed or lended, we need to have those certs for the bank. So that could take more and more time if there's any repairs. So that's step two. Of course, there's some minor repairs too. We'll advise you if you want to do them or not. But the whole goal is, like Man said, is to make that home very appealing and attractive to this new buyer that's going to purchase your home. So step two, going back by making your home ready, we have a checklist that we use that goes through the house when we advise you and you invite us over. And we go through each steps to make sure we have, as we say, all the I's checked off, not just your eyes as a seller. We know you want top dollar. We know you want to sell it fast. But we also consider what the buyer sees and also what the bank sees. And we have those checklists from small touch-ups to the walls to personal items that have to be moved. And steps like these we could help you out with, and we'll be glad to share that with you when we meet.
So when it comes to staging a property, we also many times get some homeowners where they're not quite ready to make that investment to have a professional stager come into their property and bring, furniture in and furniture out. So I'm gonna give you a couple tips. If you are looking to hire a professional stager, we have many that we can recommend. Some, obviously will have their payments paid up front, but we also have some that can do payment after closing, paid from your proceeds. So that way it's not another out-of-pocket expense. It really helps out a lot of our homeowners when, you're already looking at moving expenses or buying your next property. This pay after closing can really help you out. However, when it comes to staging, we're not just talking about, having new decorations put into the property. We're really talking about staging the home in a way that the buyer can envision themselves living in it. And what we mean by that is making sure that each room is dedicated for its own reason. So we want to make sure that, a bonus room is not just a bonus room.
Mm-hmm.
We want a bonus room to make sure that it fits the buyer's potential that we're looking to sell it to. So if we have a lot of families in the neighborhood, we will make it into a playroom. We will make it into a family room, an additional family room where you can bring your kids and have them play at. Or if we're looking at a neighborhood where it's a lot of younger professionals, we're going to make that bonus room look as if it was another office for them to work out of. And what we want to do is, if you're not looking to hire a professional stager, the bare minimums that we can start working off of is, like, again, depersonalizing your property on your own, removing all your family photos, removing anything that may be personal to you, but may hinder some feedback from buyers if they're walking through the property. So another way we can do that is by using larger pieces of furniture rather than a lot of smaller ones to just fill up the space. We would rather have you have more open space in your property than a lot of clutter space. And then another simple way is to just start to neutralize your home. And what we mean by that is not just the paint colors, the decorations you have, but also neutralizing the odors of a home. After cooking and, whatever dogs that you may have or pets that you have in the family, neutralizing your odor of your property is really important, because that's really one of the first things buyers notice when I walk them through to their property.
Key point number 4 is pricing your property right. And we know this could be very sensitive for some families who have to sell their home, and they have a beautiful home and they've been there for many, many years and have an emotional attachment. One thing I do want to tell you, working with us, is we're here to help you, not hurt you. And we study homes and prices every single day. So we want to make sure you're open to what the market tells you about the market. So when we price a home right, what that means for the buyers and yourself is you're going to get a lot of showings. And really that's what our job is, to put as many eyeballs on your home to get you an offer so you could move on with your life. So the next time you're thinking about a price, and then we'll give you what the market says, be open to it a little bit, because one thing that can hurt you if you price it too much or too high, okay? And that's what we've seen time after time. It's been on the market for many, many months or even years. And what happens, the home gets stale, and that becomes expired. And we don't want that for you. We're here to give you what the market pricing is today, as we study these every day, and give you that right value so we can hit that right number for you to get an offer for you that you can accept.
All right, and I'm going to give you another bonus tip that we're going to speak about, and it's really about making sure that you find the right real estate agent to help you go through this process of selling your property, and really making sure you have a good partner when it comes to listing your home. Why to have the right agent is because you don't just want an agent that lists your home, you really want an agent that positions your home correctly in the marketplace. And like we talked about earlier, is position it not just how it looks, but also the price, and more importantly, positioning it in the marketing plan that the real estate agent you hire has. When it comes to pricing, presentation, timing, and the marketing, it all works together. And if you miss one, you're really going to leave a lot of money on the table if you're not partnered with the right real estate agent. A third thing that's so important about having the right realtor behind you when it comes to listing and selling your home is not just to have the presentation correctly, but also to make sure that they're able to anticipate what the buyer's objections are going to be about your property. So if, like we talked about the example earlier, for your property has a septic tank and it's in the rural area, we want to make sure that we overcome those objections of that for a buyer who may not be familiar with having a septic tank. So we want to share with all the buyers who come into your property what it takes to maintain it correctly. How much would that cost to maintain moving forward? And that could be a septic tank, could be a pool, or it could be an additional dwelling unit that you may have on the property. So we want to make sure that we overcome all these objections up front, so that way they don't become a hindrance to you and your price later on.
Again, we're really excited about serving our community in San Diego. I've been out here since 1985, and San Diego truly is my home. We've been selling for many, many years, hundreds of homes in San Diego. Just remember, pick the right agent. Our real estate IQ is extremely high, and for that reason, I want to explain that we're full-time agents. We do this day in and day out, and we give a lot of our customers a lot of value. Just be aware for the part-time agents. Be aware for the ones who are saying they're full-time, they're really not. They have side jobs. That could hinder your sale. Just interview properly. And of course, our books are open to you, and we have a Rolodex of people who we'll work with. If we can't find the answer, we'll get you the correct answer so you can make the right choice. And of course, we believe that Rieder Realty is always the right choice for our San Diego community.
So thanks so much for watching our videos. If you want to continue learning more about the San Diego real estate market, go ahead, comment, like, or subscribe, and you'll get more real estate market straight to you.
Thanks again.